Hello! Right, so this is pretty much the same film position as I have just filmed my further integration playlist. Now, I want to kind of update you guys because obviously you want to know what I'm going to move on to now on this channel, because obviously we're pretty much there with AX and A2 now, really. I don't want to do vectors. I've kind of done the AS stuff, I've kind of touched on the A2 a little bit, but really we need to look at where it's going next. Now, I need to start those further option modules pretty damn quick because the exams are rolling around pretty damn quick now, aren't they? So, I need to do with you guys, I need to do FP1, so it's your further pure 1 stuff, which is your extra vectors on the cross products and all that kind of stuff. I also need to teach you FP2, which not many people do. So I'm thinking maybe do FP2, maybe not, I don't know, we'll see. What I'm not going to do is the Further Mechanics 2, right? Further Mechanics 2 is one of those option modules where you kind of have to do Further Mechanics 1. I'm going to do Further Mechanics 1, I'm definitely doing that. I'm going to do Further Stats 1 as well, so that's your chi-square testing, that kind of stuff there. Now, the decision is, pun intended, do I do decision maths? Because I know a lot of students start on decision maths while you're covering the rest of the AS content, right? So you can finish off that AS book and get that out of the way with a copy or what, right? Now, here's my question to you guys. What would you prefer? Would you prefer me to go over decision maths, which is your bubble sort, all your sorting algorithms, Dijkstra's algorithm? Would you like to go through that? Or would you like me to start on Further Mechanics 1? Now, this is the kind of thing where it's like, well, it's you guys, it's what you want, it's what you study. So if you do AQA, EdXL, OCR, OCR-MEI even, right, let me know. Let me know in the comments down below this video, because I need ideas for where to go next. Because don't forget, we've got the rest of Further Mechanics 1, which is pretty damn chunky in those 5 units. Then we got decision to do, so like Dijkstra's, bubble sorts, I've just said, all that kind of sorting algorithm stuff. So, that's my question. And that's why I need you guys to help me out as such. Where do I go next? Do I go down sorting algorithms? Totally fine, I can do sorting algorithms, not a problem. Which does include simplex, I am doing simplex algorithms as well, which not many people like actually. I don't quite like that as well, because I think it could be about a 31-minute long video for one section. But yeah, we'll get to that if we end up doing decision. So, up to you. If more people do stats, then maybe I'll do stats first. It's priority really. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to do FS1 for the stats 1? Do you want me to do Further Mechanics 1? Or do you want me to do decision 1? That's my question. Let me know in the comments down below. Anything. Right. Going on to my second point. I also need to look at talking about calculators for LMS and Further. So I'm going to talk about those now. Give me a moment. Alright, so, I'm just going to show you some case here that I use for teaching. Right, so we've got Casio Classways FX991EX with my initials on the back. I don't want to show you that. But yeah, so you've got the FX991EX. Now for Further Math, okay. For LMS, that's fine. You do not need a graphical calculator for LMS. It helps, but it's not mandatory that you need. Alright. So I won't suggest you go and buy a graphical calculator. You can, it's not a problem, you can buy one if you think it's going to help, but realistically, yeah, you don't need one. So it's this one, I'll hold up the camera here, the Casio FX991EX Classways. Alright, so it's that calculator that you need. Now, for Further Maths, if you are doing Further Maths, you might just be doing Single Maths, which you are very lucky people, but you don't have to do Further. Well, the modules I want to do. If you're doing like biological sciences, I would recommend Further Maths. It's better than the likes of like biology or psychology or something for human sciences, something like that. Now, I'm a very lucky person because I purchased the Numworks calculator. So that's this one, and the glare from my camera is not doing very well. But it's this one, the Numworks calculator. Now, I will link this in the description down below if you want to get access to this. It's Numworks calculator, my calculator that I will mention. I think this is better, this calculator, than the FX CG50 that you can get. The CG50 I'm not a fan of. Only because it's a bit clunky, and you kind of have to. I think with the CG50, you're gonna need money, of course. It's like 90 quid, right? If you get the link from EdXL, you get a bit of money, of course. Not that much anyway, so it's not even worth talking about that. But with your calculator, especially for the exams, I would say, on this one anyway, it's under settings and under exam mode, in this one in the settings, and you need to activate it. Alright, that's one of the things we do check with an online calculator, is your thing activated. Otherwise, you will be storing a load of answers to a test. There's loads in here from when I've actually used this calculator in lessons and stuff for teaching all these videos that I teach you guys, right? So, what I want to say is, overall conclusion, none works, brilliant for further maths. For single maths, it's not mandatory, and I won't say just get one out for the sake of it. I wouldn't, because it's, it's like this one's £150. It's a bit more expensive, but my word, it does so much better than the CG50. CG50, too clunky. I personally don't like it. Now, the classical class whiz. I'll just reach over here to my desk. That's no. Not blur that, sorry. It's this one here. Alright, that one. Not wrong with that, that's fine. But yeah, I honestly say if you're doing further, you kind of need that one. And my students that I teach anyway, one of the things on day one I will say is you need for homework to show me that you've purchased one of these, because I use this in lessons a lot. Especially one of the main things I think it's quite helpful with, especially if you're doing single maths as well, is on the graphing bit. You can graph expressions such as not just like a standard function, but ones that are parametric, for example, or ones that are polar coordinate form, where you've got your pole and your angle, things like that. I find those quite useful on this, because I can actually show which area I'm looking for when I'm looking at a limison, for example. So, what I would say, further mathematicians, you must get one of these. You must. There is a link in the description of this video. Go and have a look at it. Play around with the online version of it. Alright, so you can play around. To move everywhere you have to use the arrow keys, don't forget. Alright? It's worth it. Only problem is, and the other thing I would say, make sure your batteries are charged. So you get a cable that comes with it. If you're looking in the pencil case, I can find one. With this charging cable, I think it's somewhere else in the teaching bag. But your cable, plug it into a computer, get it charging. Don't plug it in the wall, whatever you do not plug it in the wall. But don't take a wall plug it in, and then plug it in. Right? Don't. Please, don't, it will cause a fire. Right? It's pretty damn important, actually. That's one thing I would recommend. Do not do that. Plug it into a wall, for example. But yeah, calculators, make sure they're sorted. Now, my exam pencil case. I shall get myself a clear one, And yeah, by the way, that's the charging cable. I've just found it. But yeah, you can't really use another charging cable like a phone or whatever. You can't really stuff it doesn't charge that well. But yeah, would recommend the work. So, right, exam pencil case. What do you need? Highlighter pens. Go and get yourself about 4 of these. I've only got one here in front of me, but you get about 4 of them because you will use them. So you can highlight a big block of text, for example, and if it might be advantage for thing 1 in one colour, advantage for thing 2 in another colour, advantage for thing 3 in another, and disadvantage for thing in another colour. Just so that big block of text is quite narrowed down, and then you can just stay 2 advantages, 2 disadvantages, 2 highlighted. Super easy tip. Ruler. I've only got a 15 centimetre one here. Ideally you need a 30 centimetre ruler, because the question might be longer than your ruler. It might be. Probably will be, more than likely. But also better to be prepared than not be prepared. Pencils. Pencils are great for diagrams, So for organic chemistry, for example, you definitely need a pencil. Alright, I've got 2 here, make sure they're sharpened, of course. Obviously, the diagrams that you do must be in pen afterwards, you have to run them in pen, otherwise you won't see it on the scanner, right? But pencils are quite good for if you make a mistake. If you make a mistake, make sure you have a rubber. Pens, I've got 1 here, you probably need about 10 of these, really. But yeah, and I like you to be a bit stingy with them. I.e., if someone asks you for a black pen, don't lend it to them. And I'm not selfish, but don't. Because you'll get to having just 1 black pen. And if you take 1 black pen with you into an exam, it's probably going to run out. Not kidding, it probably will run out. It's sarcastic there. It will probably run out. Well, no, it will run out at some point. So it's better to have at least maybe 2, 3, if that. What not to bring in your exam? Pretty colour pens. Yeah, I've got a purple one here. Yeah, I don't put that with you into an exam. I'll actually put this in my normal pens because I'm not in this one. So, let me do that. Get that in there. Also, blue. Do not write in blue pen. That's a classic example. Don't write in blue pen or even board marker pen. As I fetch for a board marker there. Do not write in board marker pen. That's one thing that you don't do. But yeah, highlighters are quite useful. I've got 1 in here. I've just seen a lot more in my pencil case that you could use. And for example, I've got about 3 pencils in this pencil case, but I've probably got a load more in there. Also, this one will do fine. You do not need the biggest pencil case, and if you can't afford one of these, I mean, yeah, they're only 50p, but go and get like a carrier bag that you put in the freezer or something, right? It doesn't have to be a clear pencil case like this one. I mean, it just looks better, it's nice and aesthetic, right? But that will do. You do not need to go and buy a fancy clear pencil case. You don't need to. And if anything, if it's not clear, then they will not let you take this into an exam. Other case, if your pencil runs out, whether we're talking about sharpeners, sharpener, obviously this one doesn't work, and you need to get another one. That's what we get last one. Before we get out the shop. That's one. So basically, go stationary shopping. That's all I will say. Go stationary shopping, get on a load of things that you will need. Remember, 30cm rule, not a 15 one. It's a 15cm one, the one that I own. Make sure about 5 to 10 pens at least. I mean, they're only like £1. Just pop down to the pound shop. It's nothing, well, that much expensive, is it? For your pencil case. Make sure, obviously, your ruler is a clear ruler so you can see through it, not one with Tipp-Ex all over it. Also, I was talking about calculators. They are bloody expensive. I'm not going to lie to you, they are expensive. But the expense of them is, yes, they're expensive. True, I understand that it's expensive. So, one thing I would say, as I was thinking about then, go to your head of year and just tell them straight, or head of sixth form, or head of college, whatever it might be, just say, I don't have a calculator for the exams. Don't tell them like 30 minutes before an exam, because you're probably not going to get one there. Right? Think about that. You're probably not going to get one 30 minutes before. So tell them, like a few months down the line, this is good for GCSE as well. For GCSE, go and talk to your head of year 11, or maybe head of year 13, if you're in year 13, or even year 12. Just go and say, I don't have a calculator, what should I do? And they'll either lend you one, or usually people are quite forgetful after exams, aren't they? For example, when I go and collect up calculators, I have about 10 of them in a box, and they keep stacking up every single year. So when someone doesn't have a calculator, I start lending them out, because you just forget them after your exams. You take your calculator and you forget them. Obviously you need one of those math sets if you're in GCSE, you need to get one of those. So that's the thing with your protractor and stuff. Also, don't holler someone in an exam for a protractor. A, because it's rude to just holler one, or you can't shout in an exam, is probably the other reason. But don't shout in an exam, that's silly and you just get kicked out. Apple Watches, not allowed. Make sure those are in your bag or away, or even just don't bring them. Just don't bring them to school or college, right? You don't even need them, really. Phones turned off in your bag. Yeah, leave them on and stick them in your bag. No, that ain't gonna cut it, I'm afraid. You're gonna need to turn them off. We've had so many instances in college where I've had to just take people's phones off them for the entire exam season. Every exam we'd have, I'd have to take it off them because we didn't trust them. And the exam boards are quite tough with this. They will basically say that you can't do any exams. Is it my problem? No. It's your problem to be getting organised and getting the stuff you need. Right? You do not take a phone into an exam. That's something I must stress. If you have to have a watch, I mean, there's a clock on the wall, you don't exactly need one, do you? A watch, but if you want one, make sure it's got a one with a hand on it and not one that's digital. That's one thing I have seen where people bring digital watches in. We have to confiscate them, unfortunately. You have to have one that's analog, that has the ticking hands. For example, the clock I've got on my wall here has ticking hands, right? It's not a digital watch. Or a digital clock even. I mean the obvious things, like, if you're gonna bring in something stupid, think about it. Alright, because you'll ruin everyone else's exams. Fire alarms, if they go off, I mean, well, the fire alarm goes off. Do you keep writing? No. Do not keep writing. You put your pen down. If the invigilators say to do so, you put your pen down. Also, be wary with your time as well. So if you've got 15 minutes to do half a paper, then possibly flick to the back of the paper. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people, especially biology, I felt for everybody in the A-level biology exams, paper 1, where the paper was about 40 pages long, and you get through half of it and you'd have like 15 minutes left to finish another half of the paper. It was pretty mean actually, and there was a lot of stick about it, and to be fair, I don't blame them. Alright, literally. Yeah, you blame whatever you want. Well, seriously, it was a little bit of a pain, and there were a lot of people crying over it. It was absolutely, like, Alice, like, yeah, no, that doesn't happen, I'm afraid. You do not, honestly, believe how many people will just get silly grades for having like 15 minutes to do like half a paper. So if you've got half a paper to do not continue in the middle of the paper. Go to the back, pick up the big marks, and spend more time on the longer answer questions, or marks that you can just pick up in like 30 seconds, for example. If you can pick up those marks, do them early. Do them early on. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is for those women out there who have the time of the month, right? If you get that during an exam, there's not much you can do, really. Make sure you're happy with the type of sanitary protection that you are using, so pads, tampons, whatever it might be. Also, I would recommend, there's a link in the description as well to a August subscription. August are making pads and tampons as well, that are not full of toxic chemicals. For example, there was a study a few years ago where there was loads of toxic substances that were in sanitary products, and yeah, you want to have a look at some of those that are in there, truly. So brands like Always, Tampax, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, stay away from them if you can, and go for like a sustainable product such as August. August is really good. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. So yeah, make sure you're prepared for that. And that's how I'm going to end this video. So, revision. Obviously got all my videos on there. Make sure you're doing practice papers, of course, up to 2020 for as far as I know. That's all the papers that are up there. Best of luck. Obviously I can't do exam paper walkthroughs, that's one thing I'm not doing anymore. The papers that are up there. I'm not allowed to do anymore from the guidance of the exam boards. We were told no, all YouTubers. There was a whole fight on Twitter about it, like we're just helping people. No, we're not allowed to anymore. It's the rule, unfortunately. A lot of maths YouTubers have actually done that and took through all the exam papers down on purpose because AQA were basically taking them. Because if you download a paper from AQA, you are now paying copyright to them if you share that online, for example, and claim it as yours. Even if you put a link in the description to where the paper is from. Like a disclaimer or some sort. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I want to sum this video up now. So, calculators, make sure that you've got the right ones. Check it earlier on in the video. Exam pencil case, make sure those are filled with all the correct stuff that you need, and keep the stuff at home that you don't need. Make sure that you're not bringing Apple Watches or any of that kind of stuff, or Samsung Watches even, for example. There's that now, isn't there? Make sure you're prepared, and let me know. FP1, D1, FM1, FS1. Let me know. Thank you very much, and I shall see you all in another video. That's it for now.